So we've just had a QPR release, Abner. It's not the biggest, but you all know that we like to talk about QPR releases around here. How are you finding QPR2 Beta 1, I believe it is?
Yeah,
I've got that right?
So it's the next cycle's underway. We're going in the assumption that this is the last Android 15 release before Android 16 when it comes out in March, with the idea that 16 comes in June. So this is shortened the life of Android 15. And yeah, QPR, it's pretty stable. I'd roughly say it's more stable than the QPR 1 in Beta 1. And 2 and 3, honestly. There's still some rough edges on the current upcoming December release. But yeah, QPR 2 seems way more stable, way more usable right now. And the one big feature is a do not disturb revamp called modes, which are these customizable states you can put your phone in that control notifications and such. Are you a big D&D user?
It sounds like you're asking me if I play Dungeons and Dragons, and I really would like to, because the one time I played it, I enjoyed it, but that's a side note. In terms of Do Not Disturb, I use it a lot. Obviously, when I'm filming, when we're recording this podcast, for instance, I like the idea of Do Not Disturb, and I think I've talked about it on the pod before, that we have kind of automated focus modes and Do Not Disturb modes. I think this could be this to me feels like the very start, the idea of rules and Do Not Disturb being interlinked, and I really like that option. My dream is to have it a little bit like it works on, for instance, on iOS, where if you wear the Apple Watch and you start a workout, your whole home screen and your whole Do Not Disturb modes change as a result of activating a fitness workout. If Google can even replicate that, just as a Do Not Disturb mode, for instance, like it would indicate that you won't get notifications from X application, and obviously you can choose that. I would love to see that. For now, I'm pleased it works pretty well. I don't know if you've been trying it out. Have you been actually set any modes yet?
I'm not the biggest user of D&D. It's funny because what I end up actually doing. So, okay, at night I put my Pixel on the Pixel stand. We never talked about that being cancelled. Maybe we should actually after this. So I put it on the Pixel stand overnight to sleep, and the way I turn off the screen is by enabling battery saver. I know that's pretty weird.
Whilst it's charging?
No. While okay, so oh god,
it sounds like you're using the Pixel stand not how you're supposed to do it. It's supposed to be
this is way more granular because I care about wireless charging, like its impact on battery
on battery lifespan.
I have a smart power strip that doesn't turn it on until like the 2 hours before I wake up, on the basis that over the summer here it's so hot that I don't want it charging overnight when it's still hot. So like I wirelessly charge at the coolest part of the day/night. So that's my weird thing. Super specific. So yeah. And for like the 5 hours before wireless charging starts, I just enable battery saver, even though I don't need to. There's no reason for. That's what I do to turn off the screen. And I've never been given a compelling reason to enable Do Not Disturb instead, because I kind of still want to see notifications in the, like, if I ever like just tap my phone, I still want to see notifications. So, but I do know you can not have D&D not hide notification. It's a mess. So I just use battery saver, and I have like a super prominent quick settings toggle. It's like in my top 4. Of where I would say most people use D&D or bedtime mode. So yeah, that's my weird thing.
This sounds to me very much like modes could be a solution for you, though, because from what I've been messing around with it is the fact that you can set these custom profiles through certain times of the day. Yeah, and obviously because it's a little bit more granular than granular. Well, I don't know why I'm saying granular than the DND settings from previously. I don't know. I feel like you could do this. I feel like there's even a Pixel Stand Gen 2 option within the modes.
Yeah, it's
I'm
the
surprised you wouldn't use it.
Of bedtime mode and this new D&D stuff. It in theory it worked for me, but I don't know. I just have the.
It sounds to me like you don't want the groundwork. It sounds to me you don't want the groundwork of setting this up because your current process works perfectly.
Yeah, I don't want to miss notifications. That's the thing. Like, it's the idea is that when I'm like, yes, in theory, when I put my phone on the stand, I'm like out for the day, but like I sometimes still tap it before I go to sleep to see all the notifications on the lock screen, and I kind of want to avoid that. I do use D&D when like sometimes when I'm like waiting for a call. I do have that, but other times there's in our line of work, I never want to not see notifications. So that's a different kind of me problem.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. I think one of the biggest things is that is this one of those features that people want? I'm not 100% certain. I think that the D&D settings that we have are quite. I mean, it's not comprehensive, but
it's simpler. Our D&D, like as a single toggle, as a single mode, is simpler. But I guess what you were alluding to earlier, the fact that this iOS started this with focus modes, I do kind of think, well, with focus, I do think that's the inspiration of customizable modes. So I can see why they added it.
Yeah, Samsung already has something similar anyway. They have their own take on focus modes, and they're quite powerful, like automation things. And I can completely understand your kind of working scenario there, where you don't want to charge, you don't want to put it in D&D, you kind of want to have access to certain things. I think the setup process might be a little bit too finicky, and I know that is the only problem I actually have with the focus modes on iOS is that sometimes it can almost take control of your entire system when you don't want it to. You just want it to control, say, notifications from one thing, and then the overlap with bedtime mode means that, I mean, the way that iOS has done it is an absolute disgrace, is that if you have a focus mode enabled and then bedtime mode kicks in, and you don't set an alarm through bedtime mode, I mean, this is completely at odds with what we were talking about, but it won't play your alarms. So basically, if you set
that's aggressive.
Calendar or a clock alarm, you have to set the alarm through bedtime mode. And I just hope that Android and Google basically just decide that they're not going to follow that suit, because I've missed a few alarms, important alarms like flight times, getting up at 3-4 a.m. and I've had to race to the airport a couple of times. So yeah, frustrating.
Feel bad. So yeah, in the new, so the D&D tile in quick settings is replaced by the new modes one. It gives you a menu, which I don't know how I feel. I've seen some people not like multi-step. Like it's modes is now another menu in quick settings. I think you have to get used to that. A nice thing about modes is when you make a new one, you select you give it a name, you select an icon. That icon appears in the status bar on the lock screen. That to me is a nice little touch of customization there.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of those things that Google's done really well. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I really like status bar icons. I don't know why.
Same.
I think that it's really nice for that. I hope that they never get rid of them, because it's just that nice differentiator where you see, okay, it's a man running. Oh, I'm in focus mode for running. I like the fact that they've put some sport ones in there as well as the gaming stuff. So kudos to them. I think the little icons are they favicons technically? I don't know. But I think they're great.
Probably not status bar icons, which then again, nobody else uses status bar icons. So yeah, when you make one, your notification filter options are people. You can choose people. You can choose apps. You can choose how alarms, media sounds, touch sounds, reminders, calendar events. This is all from the past. And to what you were alluding to, the new display settings. Previously, they were just in bedtime mode, I believe, as part of digital well-being. But now you can customize grayscale. You can keep the screen dark, dim wallpaper, enable dark theme, that kind of stuff. And yeah, this is, as of QPR1, it's pretty stable, I'd say. I know some people don't like the merger of bedtime mode and D&D.
Yeah. I think having the quick settings toggle is a strange one, because it's like you're going to confuse people who use it for the first time when they update to this potentially later down the line or get a phone in the new year. So I'm worried a little bit about that, but I do wonder if that can be almost iterated on over time.
Yeah, and for people who want D&D back, so on the lock screen shortcuts, the D&D shortcut still exists, and that's still one tap. I'm not sure if Google's going to change that in the future, but I think they probably keep that as D&D. So if you want to place that for one tap access, you can long press in that. But yeah, that is modes. It's a big feature, but at the same time, it's really kind of polished out of the gate, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I do wonder. Obviously, we are diving into this update, which is potentially going to be March 2025.
Yeah, March 25.
Around that time. My big question is Google going to integrate some of this into the potential or the very realistic possibility of an Android developer preview for Android 16 in the next 2 to 3 months? So I do find the QPR thing kind of confusing, and obviously we cover it day in, day out, but yeah, I don't know how it's going to feel for some people who end up installing this and then getting the Android 16 beta as well.
Yeah, but well, again, beta is coming soon, I'm sure. But yeah, March, the big feature, the first feature drop of the year. Yeah, I'm just, again, like QPR, it's shockingly stable. I know there's not a lot added, but I guess something else you can talk. The status bar icons. Have you gotten used? Sorry, the status bar itself. Have you gotten used to the thicker status bar? Has introduced in QPR1 Beta 3 and continued on QPR2 with the Pixel 9 series, for the Pixel 9 series, rather.
Yeah, I understand why they've done it. I just think it looks odd. Like, I'm looking at my phone right now, and it just looks strange compared to what we've had to before. We've had that like almost top of the bezel of the screen alignment, and now it feels floating in the screen a little bit more. To me, sometimes, because obviously we here use a lot of Pixel phones over the years, the status bar has been one of those things that hasn't evolved all that drastically, and I think even seeing a minor changes can be a little bit jarring. I'm literally just staring straight at my phone's status bar now, and I'm like, it does look weird when you start to look at it, because of how low it is in the screen, but it does make sense because obviously a lot I've noticed as well when you open certain applications and it has that increased padding to account for the bigger selfie camera. Yeah, it does make sense. I think that it's a sensible decision, and it's not one of those things that drastically ruins the Pixel experience. Absolutely, I think not. This time around,
it's just, I don't know, it'll take a day for you or more to get used to it. Really, and apps, it's I don't know. It's fine. It's purely aesthetic, but the loss of screen space, it's truly nothing. It's a tiny few pixels, but now something that catch your eye come QPR1. I assume at this point they've decided to go along with that change. But yeah, if I'd probably say it's fine to jump onto QPR2 if you're on the beta track.
Yeah, and I think one thing to definitely mention is if you're a Pixel 6 owner, you're going to be one of those people who it very much looks like you're kind of going to get an update here, which is amazing.
Yeah, so it should have been the October Android 15 update should have been the last one, but QPR1 locked and QPR2 is now confirmed. It's good. It's absolutely a good move, extending the software. Release guarantee. Well, we're past the guarantee now, but I wonder if Google will try to match since it still has security updates for 2 more years officially. I wonder if Google will go all the way or just end on 15, since that's a pretty good run of things in terms of just finishing out 15. But I could definitely see the case if it's not too much additional effort for them, if stuff doesn't go wrong, to continue on the 16 path. That would be really nice for owners of this phone.
Yeah, imagine if you were a Pixel 6 owner and you were obviously 5 years of updates. I think is pretty darn solid. It's a shame it is only 3 OS and 5 years of security patches, but I think given it was one of the most extensive update periods at the time, back in 2021, which doesn't feel like 5 minutes ago, I think it's one of those things where if you get Android 16, it's just icing atop the cake, because obviously you're going to be looking for an upgrade in the next, if you've hung on. I think most people will probably be fine unless they've had horrendous connection issues and absolutely hate the in-display fingerprint scanner, and that's two very valid reasons to have ditched the Pixel lineup period. I think it definitely leaves a sour taste in my mouth sometimes with Pixel 6 Pro. I just couldn't use it in certain areas because of connectivity issues, even though I really like the phone. I think for some people, if they get Android 16 with the Pixel 6 series handset and even the 6A potentially, you've managed to get four full OS upgrades out of a phone, which has never happened technically prior to that. This will be the first one, won't it, to have a bigger update, QPR2, after that 3-year window. So yeah, I think it's great. I do hope Google do it. I wonder if this is a sign of them saying, do you know what, we might throw a curveball, but it's only ever going to be good if it works. And I do think, having used the Pixel 6 weirdly yesterday and the day before for some video content I'm working on, it feels fine. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the 90Hz screen is not as nice, but I don't see any. It's almost in lockstep with the Pixel 9. So yeah, fingers crossed. I think QPR2 is, if it keeps evolving, then great. I think as it is, it's probably bringing a lot of those extra quality of life additions. But yeah, I think that's Android 15 QPR2 Beta 1 in a nutshell. It feels weird talking about a March update in November, but
always
it is what it is, right? It is what it is.
So I follow up on something. The Pixel stand. Shortly after the Pixel 9 series launched, Google stopped selling the second-gen Pixel stand. That's my wireless charger, bedtime charger of choice. I like that it stands up so I can see the clock. But yeah, they stopped selling it, and it's really odd. So the tiny drama around it is that officially it doesn't work with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Google says it's not officially supported, but the workaround people have found is like putting a piece of foam or some gap in between so the coils line up a bit better.
I need to try that because this is the one thing that's frustrated me about switching to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I am now, as you listen to this, a Pixel 9 Pro Fold owner. It's my main device. I'm really enjoying it, but not being able to use the Pixel stand is really frustrating.
So yeah, the Pixel stand in general, what do you like? What don't you like? The Pixel stand too.
Do you like the design? Do you think the design is good? I think in hindsight, I don't like it as much as I
It's a bit on the bulky
did.
side. So this is the thing. I still use the original Pixel stand as a stand on my desk, not connected to anything, like a movable stand, and I like that. But like the Pixel stand 2 with its active cooling, it is so thick.
I do wonder if that's going to be something that is a mainstay of wireless chargers moving forward.
Yeah, it has. I get why, but I just the back is so chunky. I don't know, it makes it a solid object. It's a bit on the short side given front of phones. Still works, but Jim killing it. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like thinner wouldn't hurt. Taller, absolutely. They still have. I guess a more basic question: do they have to keep making these? Will they keep making these? I think they should, for just the in ecosystem experience.
I wonder, and this is really, really completely left field. I wonder if, much like the Pixel tablet, there's like almost obviously that's a speaker stand, which is different, and that's held by magnets. I do wonder if the switch to Qi 2 and the mag almost a MagSafe copycat. Do you think we get a magnetic Pixel stand in the future?
Magnetic. It's
so almost like, you know, so currently you have to put your phone onto the Pixel Stand 2, and it turns it into a home hub of sorts.
Yeah.
The same happens with the Pixel tablet. I wonder if the next Pixel 10, whatever it is, and a new Pixel Stand comes along, Pixel Stand 3, and it has a magnetic attachment base, and it turns it into your phone into a bit more of a semi-permanent Nest Hub style device that has its own mini experience.
I think show wouldn't mind.
Do you think it would happen? I feel like that would be the natural progression, right? If you're gonna, obviously, my biggest thing about actual wireless charging tech is we haven't really done much. They haven't really seen any major developments. Everything is like obviously faster, but it's all determined by heat output. So I wonder if people actually care about the charging speed of a wireless charger. Do people want their phone to charge it in an hour on a wireless charging stand, or would they rather trickle charge it?
Yeah, it's, again, the nice thing about the Pixel Stand is that you have those options. So I'd like if they keep that. Yeah, it's a thinking that they just end up making a puck, like the next Pixel Stand ends up being
they could make a puck. I think a puck would work, but I just think something that's more integrated, because Google could clearly make something that is a bit more. What's the way to describe it? I think the Pixel Stand 2 is probably, apart from its bulk, it's quite inconspicuous in terms of chargers. You wouldn't know that it was a charger by looking at it if you weren't aware. So my theory is, if they make something that's almost like the Pixel tablet speaker dock, but smaller, and has the fans built into it like that, and is a little bit more of almost an ornament that has that double capability. I feel like that would, to me, would feel very much like a Google move. That would be what Google would do in this situation if they're going to have a new product. But I guess
the fan inherently means they have to keep doing this general shape, because I'm thinking of like the Belkin docks for the 3-in-1 Belkin docks for the Apple products, where it's like an arm. You get an arm with the circle as the MagSafe puck. Yeah, I doubt you can do that with active cooling, so that's out as a form factor. But I think, no, do we need active cooling? Is that the trend going forward with faster and faster speeds? So far,
how many first-party manufacturers are doing that? I guess a broader question is, how many first-party manufacturers? I was going to say Panasonic then for some reason. How many first-party manufacturers?
Samsung still has them. I know.
Does Samsung, do they have a fan in their wireless charger though?
I'm not sure about the current ones, but I definitely have one when I use the Galaxy Watch. So yeah.
Well, imagine if another thing to potentially come out of this is, I wonder if Google would do a 3-in-1. I would love to see a wireless charging pad for my phone, wireless charging pad for the Pixel Buds, and a option for the Pixel Watch.
Buds? That's the thing that always gets me about those.
Not that often, but I would happily leave them on a wireless charging pad. I don't think it does any damage to them in the grand scheme of things, because the battery's so small and heat dissipates off it. But yeah, it's fascinating to hear that Pixel Stand 2 is now discontinued. So if anyone out there who is wanting one, go out and seek one out, because it's not available in the Google Store. Is there any other third-party retailers that sell them in the US? I know they're available at a few here in the UK.
They have to be. I don't think it's the removal was just the Google Store stopped selling it. I don't think anything deeper than that. But while we're talking about the Google Store, here's the season for deals.
And what do you think so far about the deals? Because I have had some very, very annoyed people in my DMs asking me why, and I don't know how I'm supposed to know this, but why the deals in the UK have been so terrible this year, considering just a few weeks ago they were incredible.
Oh, are you when they were incredible?
I am referring to the 30% off deal. So yeah, that's kind kind of a little bit unfair to compare that to Black Friday
global,
deals.
Or was it just the US? Was the Prey Points 30% discount global?
No, that's how I achieved my Pixel 9 Pro Fold for, I think it was £714. So
wait, this is the Prey Points deal?
Yeah, that was with the PlayPoints deal.
It doesn't
they had boosted trading as well.
Oh no, it doesn't work in the US. You can't get the Fold on. Really?
I'm smiling. I'm smiling on it. Obviously, guys, listen to this. I'm smiling at this because this feels like a Brexit benefit. One of the few that we've had. So yeah, in the UK, if you still have your voucher, I don't know if they've expired now, but you can use it on the Pro Fold.
Oh,
so if you are looking, the only downside is, from what I can tell, with obviously the current deals is with Black Friday, I think it's about £150 off. I think it's a maximum on the Pixel Fold. Or maybe it's the 9 Pro XL.
Yeah. So in the US context, it's 150. The Pixel 9 Pro, the 9 Pro series, both of them will be $150 off, which is in line with last year. The 8 Pro and the Fold is, I assume, will be $300 off again, since Google did this weird 2-tier thing where they have pre-Black Friday deals that have just ended, and then the actual Black Friday deals are starting in a week. So I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, it's 150 is on par with last year, and it's something that Google One subscribers have been getting as a discount. But the big thing here that's been happening, as you said, the Prey Points 30% off, $300 off the Pixel 9. That's pretty good for the Pixel 9 Pro. That's been great for most people if you have that offer.
Yeah, I think sadly that the voucher situation with Play is going to smoke all of these deals. Although I will say that here in the UK, I don't know if I'm sure it tracks fairly similar to the US. I think the Pixel 8 Pro at $499 is a great buy. The downside is that you can get them from other third-party retailers for slightly cheaper sometimes. So if you want to go straight from the Google Store, it's not bad.
But to me, like, the question I'm waiting for on the 8 Pro is how many Gemini features will it get pixel screenshots. To me, that's the thing I'm waiting for. Will it get Pixel Studio officially? Yeah. So if Google decides to add that, I think the 8 Pro, and I don't even know whether the 8 and the 8A are getting something like pixel screenshots.
Yeah, I think the 8A is one of the better deals I've seen in Google Store.
I still use mine fairly regularly. I do like the 8A, and we're definitely in the 6-month period with it.
Yeah, well, I think it's $369 here in the UK, which I think is a little bit more palatable. I mean, I think if you go out and buy it, you've got to look at it from the value proposition over its lifespan. And I think for a £369 phone in the UK, and there's very, very
$400 in the US, it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's very few phones out there that are going to get that level of support. But I have seen a deal recently, which I think is technically Black Friday adjacent. Is if you have a in the UK, we have a thing called a blue light discount. So if you're a police officer or in the service industry, effectively like fire service, police, nurses, doctors, all that kind of stuff, you can get a substantial discount. And the Pixel 8A is as low as about £220, which I think is a phenomenal deal. If I were not doing what I do right now and testing phones on a regular basis, I think I would be jumping at a Pixel 8A at under £250. I think it's incredible. So yeah, it feels like I always feel like this time of year with Black Friday deals, it's a little bit of a minefield. And I know that historically I think we've complained on site about it, specifically Ben, that if you were going to buy a Pixel, you always wait until Black Friday to buy it.
This changes the calculus a great deal, since given how early the Pixel phones launched in August, I kind of thought the deals would be deeper for Black Friday. But again, so far they're the $150 off in the US for the Pro. That's pretty on par with last year, and I'm kind of surprised that the deals are not a bit deeper given the gap. the launch
I'm
gap.
I'm also interested as well that with that launch gap, have devices held their value as much? Because this is one thing. This is a criticism that I would even level at Android. Period. Is that we just don't have devices that hold value as well as they do on the Apple side of the fence. Like, I think that Pixels have been notoriously bad for holding value. Like, I remember seeing the Pixel Fold last year, I think it was, obviously still selling on the website at over £1,000, £1,500 or $1,500. And you can go to a third-party store and get one that's either lightly used or even opened, not used, to like way below that, almost half the price. So I do wonder what will happen with regard to Pixel in the future. Are we gonna, this ballooning of prices, does it mean that they're gonna hold prices better, or I don't know. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think we're gonna see a point in which someone who holds onto their phone for 3 or 4 years is gonna recoup some increased price for that? I don't know.
Has to be
Maybe the update
Google.
schedule helps.
Yeah, I think Google would be the ones that have to do that. I don't see third parties going out of their way to do it to increase the price long term to iPhone levels. So that's probably the unfortunate root of that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think as well? I do wonder as well. Thinking about that, is it something to do with the fact that Pixel has a much smaller market share than the other brands, so it's harder to convince someone to go out and buy one at a later date? Does that make sense? I feel like maybe the brand awareness just is non-existent. So in 3 years' time, someone who's looking for a second-hand device or used device is not going to go for a Pixel because they don't know anything about them. I don't know. Maybe there's some almost logic behind it.
There's something there. It's also the idea of waiting. It's like, if you're mid-cycle, let's say 6 months' time, basically, and January, at around the 6-month period, I definitely and I feel like you should just wait instead of wait for the next one, if possible, if absolutely possible. Maybe starting with the Pixel 9 series, I feel like the longer updates extend that maybe into 5-4 months before the new phone launches. But I guess in the past, I'd say like after January or definitely after I/O, don't buy, wait for the next one. So maybe that's starting to change. The calculus there is starting to change, and that it's good for Google's year-round, especially as before the new phone launches, other places start discounting them a bit more heavily.
Yeah. It seems like the deals are. It feels less fire saley. So maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something in it, and obviously, like you say, you reach that point where what are we, almost 3 months into the life cycle of the Pixel 9? I think, to be honest, $150 off something that's been out for 3 months is that in isolation seems fair. But obviously, historically, that seems very, very low. So
it's the holiday aspect of it. I mean, I know it's only $50, but $200 just mentally, that seems like a great change, a more significant change that gets people to buy it. And I don't know if there's still a month between like right now and the actual Christmas, which is the other period when people buy phones. Get them or something, whatever. I wonder if we get greater deals like a week or two out from the December holidays.
I mean, you could very well be right, and that I think there's something I wanted to touch on as well with that, is that there is definitely more people out there with Pixels, isn't there? We have. I don't know if you're seeing it. I think there's more people out there with Pixels, so maybe the people who are waiting are really annoyed as well, though. Like, that's the thing I'm hearing in terms of the deals. So anyone out there who is annoyed that the details, the discounts, or the details of the discounts are not that high, as Adam's just said, maybe when we get closer towards that, in air quotes, Christmas period, holiday period, which is more prominent here in the UK because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving, obviously, we might get better deals closer to then than we would on this Black Friday period.
Yeah,
there is some good stuff. There is some good stuff there, right? You can get, like I say, I think the Pixel 8 Pro at £500 is pretty good. The Pixel Buds Pro 2, don't know why I can't speak today. They're like £30 off. They're $50 off in the US, right?
Yeah.
Okay. $70 off the Pixel Watch 3. I think it's pretty good.
Interesting cultural thing. Boxing Day is a very interesting concept to me. Day after Christmas sales. How does that work in terms of just you wait until after? I guess it's when you don't really want as a gift, when you're just trying to find yourself a good deal. Is that how it works?
Obviously it's evolved since online shopping became a major thing, but obviously when I was a kid, you would get up ridiculously early on Boxing Day to go to the basically the retail stores and get things at insane markdown. I don't know why it's a thing. It always has been. I guess it's a little bit like Black Friday, in that in the UK traditionally, I don't think anything was open from like Christmas Day until New Year's Day, I think it was. So there's a period in which where they would only have one shopping day of the year. I think that's where it's come from. Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to recollect where I heard it. But yeah, I think these things happen anyway. So Boxing Day sales start on Christmas Day. So you end up on your laptop and you can already see all of the best deals. So yeah, I mean, for anyone in the UK, I think if you're looking for a Pixel device of any form or Nest, whatever it is, ecosystem product, keep an eye on where I go is hotukdeals.com. That's not an endorsement of whatever they do, but they do have almost a live ticker of sorts of the best deals around Black Friday. So even if you're not looking for a Pixel phone, which we talk about quite heavily here, if you're talking about Android phones, you may get some phenomenal deals. And I do think with some releases coming in the next few weeks, I think prices might drop as well naturally for devices like, say, the OnePlus 12, which I think is phenomenal. Probably, I'm going to say it, I think it might be one of my phones of the year. So yeah, Black Friday is, it's coming in hot, but what do we think? What do you think you're going to be purchasing just before we head off? What do you think you're going to be buying, if anything?
Probably good for now. Yeah, pretty good for now, actually. Cases, I've dipping my toe into cases for the Pixel 9 as not the 9 Pro, as a 9 as a way to distinguish between the two phones. So I've been using Google's cases a bit. I have it in the very drab green, maybe liven things up a bit. That's, I guess, what people are hoping for. Accessory sales come next when the Black Friday deals actually start in the US, because I feel like everybody loves accessories.
I definitely do. And if we obviously check our site, we'll have some roundups of some of the better deals on Pixel products and Pixel adjacent products, like I mentioned before. But yeah, this is a super quick one. We were not here last week, but we're back. We're back again, and we're getting on with it. So I just want to say thanks for joining me, Abner. This has been, I can't believe we're episode 31. I know I said that last time it was episode 30, but the year is kind of powering towards an end, winding down and powering towards an end a little bit. But yeah. Just want to say thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon, guys.
Bye.